G'day, I'm Adam Collings. Welcome to Stories. I'm kicking off the new year by talking about Amish Vampires in Space by Kerry Nietz. Now at first glance, with a title like this, you might be tempted to think that this is some kind of a campy farce or a parody of genres. It isn't. This is a serious dramatic novel, but it does have its roots in a bit of a joke. Go back a few years in our trusty TARDIS, and you find a group of Christian science fiction authors noticing the great prevalence of Amish romances in industry. It seemed that it was all the Christian publishers were interested in. Jeff Gerke, the editor of Marcher Lord Press at the time, came up with an amusing idea for the ultimate Christian sci-fi novel, Amish Vampires in Space. He even mocked up a cover. It was all a bit of good-natured fun. A few years on, author Kerry Nietz started thinking about this title in a more serious light. He realised there was potential for quite an interesting story here. Amish, spacefarers, vampires. There was scope for some fascinating conflict. This is the book he came up with. A tribe of Amish are living on a planet called Alabaster. They settled there generations ago. With Earth becoming more and more technologically advanced, it must have seemed difficult to maintain their lifestyle. The trouble is, their world is currently in danger. Their sun is dying and they need to be evacuated. Jebediah Miller knows what to do. His family has a long-kept secret, a device that they can use to call for help. He could save his people, but they may not thank him for it. Using technology is strictly forbidden by their rules, the Ordnung. Meanwhile, the Starship Raven is about to take on a dangerous cargo. In it lies a terror that will threaten all of them. I was drawn to this book right away. I really like stories that combine things that don't normally belong together. I think that's why I like time travel so much. I've often thought I'd like to see the Amish used in some kind of a science fiction setting. This book is essentially about the clash of cultures. Just having Amish settled on their own world was interesting to begin with. Putting them on a spaceship brought a whole lot of interesting conflict. It was fascinating seeing each group of people from the other's perspective. In a way, having lived on their own world, away from any English or influence, has made these Amish even more wary of our ways and less accepting of outsiders than current-day Amish would be. The vampires in this story were handled in a very science fiction way. I loved how they were portrayed. Their origins were nicely foreshadowed. These would have to be the coolest vampires I've come across, but to say more would be to stray into spoiler territory. This book examines a lot of issues and asks plenty of questions while not imposing any answers. How far would you go to stay true to your convictions? Would you continue to remain a pacifist even when blood-sucking monsters are trying to kill you and everyone you love? On the other hand, what if your refusal to take up arms means that someone else has to risk their lives on your behalf? This book was also quite a thrill ride. The tension keeps building up and up until it's finally released. I love some of the characters that Nietz created in this book. Jebediah comes across as a strong protagonist in the Amish camp. He loves his community, but more and more he's finding himself rejected by it for actions he's taken to protect them. At the other end of the spectrum is Seal Drake, captain of the Raven. His life centers around the job of running a starship and fulfilling cargo orders. To him, the Amish are a bit of an oddity, which he finds difficult to understand. He begins to take a liking to one of the female officers on his ship, crewman Singer. Singer is interesting. As a modern Christian, she sits halfway between these two cultures as a kind of bridge. To the Amish, she's just another Englisher. To Seal, her faith makes her a little different than the Amish themselves. Then there's Kongi, the guy who can get you anything for a price, from his stash of items that have accidentally been lost from cargo shipments. And Grills, the loading supervisor who despises him. Grills is a really interesting character to me. He's the kind of guy who sees trouble on the horizon before other people do, yet no one seems to want to listen to him. This leads to some good drama. I've heard people say that this was quite a long book. I found this interesting. I read this book on my Kindle, so I didn't really have much of a concept of how thick it was. It didn't feel long to me. I do remember getting to the end and thinking, oh, no more? So that, more than anything I can say, is a testament to how much I enjoyed this book. Amish Vampires in Space is a serious exploration of cultures, scientific ethics and faith. None of these themes seemed heavy-handed, but all of them came naturally out of the plot. I'm glad that Kerry Nietz decided to go the serious route rather than making this a comedy, because this is the kind of book that I wanted to read. I loved this book. It was one of my highlights of 2013, and I give it my highest recommendation. If you're looking for something interesting and different in the science fiction genre, then check out Amish Vampires in Space by Kerry Nietz. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to connect with me, you can head over to the About page of my blog at collingzone.wordpress.com. Catch you next time!